She thought she was protecting the neighborhood. She had no idea who she was calling the cops on. Martha Gable had lived on Oakwood Lane for nearly 2 decades. She wasn't just a resident, she was the self-appointed gatekeeper. From her perch on the porch, mug of coffee in hand and silk robe grazing her knees, she kept an eye on everything. That Saturday afternoon, the sun baked the pavement, and everything shimmered in the heat. Martha noticed something strange. A black woman, maybe mid-40s, was lounging by the pool at the old Miller house. Book on her stomach, drink by her side. She looked too comfortable, too at home, but there'd been no moving truck, no introductions, no wave. Martha felt a knot form in her stomach. Something felt off. She picked up her phone and dialed the non-emergency number she knew by heart. County Dispatch, what's your emergency? Hi, yes. I think someone might be trespassing at the old Miller place. There's a woman in the backyard, I don't recognize her. Can you describe her? She's a black woman, mid-40s maybe, just lying there in a swimsuit like she owns the place. The dispatcher asked if there were signs of forced entry. No, Martha admitted, but she could have hopped the fence. She just doesn't belong. Across the street, the woman turned a page in her book and took a sip of her drink, not sneaking, not hiding, just existing, and somehow, that only deepened Martha's suspicion. 8 minutes later, 2 squad cars crept down Oakwood Lane. Martha slipped out from behind the hedges where she'd been watching and met the officers like she just happened to be watering her flowers. That's her, she said, pointing. The officers entered through the unlocked side gate, but the woman by the pool wasn't caught off guard. She stood slowly, calm, composed. Ma'am, one officer called. We got a report of a possible trespasser. I live here, she said evenly. This is my house. Do you have any ID on you? The woman didn't flinch. She walked to a patio cabinet, pulled out a leather tote, and unzipped it. Out of curiosity, she asked, her voice sharp and quiet, do you ask everyone sunbathing in their own backyard for ID, or just the ones who look like me? The younger officer looked away. It's just protocol, ma'am. Nothing personal. It's always nothing personal until it is. Then she flipped open a badge. Deputy Director Federal Bureau of Investigation. Silence. I bought this house 3 weeks ago, she said. I've been in D.C. preparing testimony for the Senate Intelligence Committee. Today was my first afternoon off. I thought I'd spend it in my own backyard. The officers apologized. She didn't smile. Let me guess, she said, not even turning around. White woman across the street, binoculars by the window? They didn't answer. Well, she added, picking up her book again, maybe tell her the show's over, and that she should worry more about the weeds in her yard than who's sunbathing in mine. They left without another word. Martha stood frozen behind her porch screen, the weight of her mistake crashing down in a wave of cold nausea. That woman wasn't a trespasser, she was the owner. And worse, someone important. Back inside, Martha searched the name, Amelia R. Vance, FBI. Instantly, the screen lit up with press photos, headlines, committee hearings. Amelia Vance wasn't just legitimate, she was untouchable. Then came the text. Jeanette, heard cops were on Oakwood? Everything okay? Martha ignored it. The neighborhood Facebook group told her everything she needed to know. Someone had snapped a blurry photo through the fence. Amelia in a swimsuit. 2 officers. A badge gleaming in the sun. Caption. When the new neighbor turns out to be a boss. Comments exploded. Somebody really called the cops on the FBI? This is why you mind your own damn business. The next day, Oakwood Lane was quiet, but not the kind of quiet Martha liked. People who used to wave walked past with blank expressions. That afternoon, as she walked to the mailbox, Mr. Singh from down the street, usually warm, always smiling, looked at her coldly. A lot of people are talking, he said. I told them to Google your new neighbor's name. If this is the kind of neighborhood where people call the cops on someone for sunbathing, people ought to know. Their eyes met for just a moment. Later that week, an email went out. Block meet and greet at Amelia Vance's Saturday afternoon. Let's get to know each other for real. Martha didn't RSVP. But on Saturday, after pacing her house for an hour, she wrapped a plate of lemon bars and stepped outside. Every step across the street felt like walking toward judgment. Amelia saw her. She smiled. Not warmly, just truthfully. Martha offered the plate. They're homemade. Thank you, Amelia said, accepting them. I had a lot of excuses, Martha said softly. None of them were good. That's a start, Amelia replied. You didn't have to invite me. I didn't, Amelia said, but I figured you needed it more than anyone. Martha stayed for a while. She listened. She didn't talk much. Because sometimes, the fences we build aren't in our yards, they're in our minds. And sometimes, tearing them down takes more courage than we think we have. but it has to start somewhere. He walked away. That evening, the doorbell rang again. It was the lead officer from the day before. "I just want to be clear," he said. "A report like yesterday's no threat, no crime, nothing to go on, it gets flagged in the system. If a pattern develops, it could be investigated as harassment." Martha felt the blood drain from her face. "I'd think real hard about who you thought you were protecting this place from." He left, and Martha stood there, her sanctuary feeling more like a prison. 2 days later, Amelia was at her mailbox again, but this time, she wasn't alone. Mr. Singh was chatting with her, along with other neighbors. She was becoming part of the community. Martha had made herself an outsider,